Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 345th episode of the Geek First podcast. My name is Trash Snail. I am the, oh boy, I don't know. We were talking about a lot of stuff today. I'm the Clown Pins of podcast, Trash Snail, and I'm joined by.
I am the Adam Hart caster, Dylan West.
I am your friendly neighborhood caster, Kirklin Patzer.
The Battle Royale or Taylor Field.
Wow. Pretty
Clean.
smooth, We all went in order, So if no one knows, we are doing this remote casting because we've announced that for health issues, making sure everyone's nice and safe, that we're doing this. So if everything sounds a little like janky here and there, we're working on this. Is the first newscast, and this is the first 4-person cast. But we got the intros right, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, you can't complain when you get that right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good start.
I want to ask everybody, how's their quarantine life going?
Oh man, I mean, for me, it's like I work from home already, and a lot of my hobbies include sitting in rooms recording things or sitting in rooms playing video games. So it hasn't really changed all that much. It's just like really stressful and stuff. Every day waking up and looking at the news, or my phone just has all these push notifications of here's some more bad news. So I guess that's the only part that really sucks. But in terms of quarantine stuff, I went for a nice mini hike today and whatnot. So I don't know. I'm doing pretty normal. I would.
Did you get any ticks in your leg, Dylan?
Not that I know of. But I think Taylor probably did the classic blunder by wearing shorts, which the tick can just go directly on the leg. I was rocking pants.
I was more of a jean guy, especially when you're going in the bush. You gotta wear jeans.
I could not disagree less with that statement.
All right, yeah. It's been pretty much business as usual for me. I went to work all last week, and we haven't had any news of getting shut down or anything. As of yet, I don't know. Anything can happen come Monday. But Shay, my significant other, just got back in the country, so that's a lot of stress left my body when I heard that news.
That's good
for her to get back here, but everything should be going smoothly. She said to come back tomorrow morning, and she will be living where I'm living right now, and I will be living with my parents. So it'll be back to the good old days.
I imagine, Kirklin, you didn't listen to last week's Clone Wars episode, did you?
No, I didn't.
Because me and Taylor were theorizing. No, you weren't supposed to. I was thinking about posting the clip. I know me and Taylor theorized that you maybe killed Shay, and this was just a really big elaborate ploy, because it was just you were very non-responsive for the last few days, and we just thought you were Dexter somewhere. You had this body trying to get rid of her, and then we made this whole scenario where the borders are getting closed, so it's a classic Dexter scenario where you got a body in the back, but the border's closed, so you can't get back. So until I see her, I don't know if I believe you, because you were AWOL for 4 days, but
All right. Well, you won't see her for at least 14 days because she's gonna be quarantined. So
I'll
have 14 days to think of a body double or an excuse on why you're not seeing her.
Wow. So we're going to do newscast here today. We got some fun topics. We're answering Patron question. We're talking about, what we're talking about here. We're talking about a bunch of movies getting delayed and going to VOD. We're talking about, where the hell is that? We're talking about Call of Duty Warzone. We're talking about the PS5 kind of specs reveals, presentation or sleep session, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to first throw it to Dylan and Taylor because I got some things to pimp out. And as always, go away.
Yeah, so a few days ago, I released my review for Dunk Lords, which is a really fun kind of arcade basketball game. Kind of reminds me a lot of Mario Strikers, but with basketball instead. So I did a review on that game. That's a short review, so go check it out. And then sometime next week, I'll be doing a review for Animal Crossing. I have the game now, and it's fucking awesome. I don't know when I'll get to recording it, probably next weekend or before next weekend. You can expect to see that up on the feed. So look forward to that. What are you working on, Taylor?
So we got the latest and greatest Taylor review for Kingdom, season 2 that just popped off on Netflix. It is a great series, so make sure you go check that out. And shout out to everyone correcting me on the fact that I said it's a Chinese show, and I am wrong. It is a Korean TV drama. But with everything going on, I just got China on the brain right now, so I do apologize. You guys, call me out. I appreciate it.
Hopefully they did it in like a nice way. I didn't read the comments, but
They've been very like polite, like calling me a dummy and stuff. So I'm giving them polite responses back. I'm giving them like the respect because I want to build that bridge with the fan base. So
You should have saw this one comment we got on our Love Is Blind reunion show review. There's a whole paragraph, so you can go to the comment. It's like literally like a diatribe, but it just started off with, just came across this crazy how y'all are commenting on the reunion without having done any research, LOL. And then it keeps going on and on about like Amber Burnett did in-depth interviews before the reunion, blah, blah, blah. Little things the other couples you got about it wrong, such as the meal was Italian beef. Like, fuck off. Like,
That's so random.
oh, yeah.
you know what? Like, that's such a bad show, and those people are so uninteresting that no, I don't want to spend extracurricular time like reading about their lives. Like,
Yeah.
no, I feel like watching the show. I feel like I did my dues. That seems a little that seems like too much to put on someone.
Mm-hmm. And then
I would agree.
later on, we're going to be reviewing Catwoman. But the reason I'm saying that, because Kirkland, what did we record a few weeks ago with Dylan that is now on the $1 tier on Patreon? There's a duck in it.
Oh, Howard
George
the Duck.
Lucas.
I was trying to forget that movie, honestly, with how bad that was. But yes, it took me a quick second to remember.
Give just the slightest tease. What's worse, Howard the Duck or Catwoman?
Ooh, that's a good comparison because I feel like they're almost on equal footing. Howard the Duck, I'd say, would be more enjoyable with friends, whereas Catwoman's just terrible, like all the way through. It's very cringy. It's very hard to watch, and Howard the Duck is just a huge like head scratcher with it being a PG movie and everything. I don't know. So I don't know. Maybe tune in and then you'll find out. Compare the two yourselves.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so that we're going to be recording after this, so that'll be for patrons on the $1 tier. So as always, go down the links below. You got geekverse.ca. Taylor, where can they find us in the, where?
with the internet connection, you can find us all over the internet. Facebook, Geekverse Podcast, Twitter, Geekverse Cast. Especially check out our website, geekverse.ca. And make sure you check out our Facebook because we got the Clone Wars poll popping up at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It alternates every day.
Yeah, there you go. You can check out all the links below for the video and audio feeds. We just did a Clone Wars review. Like Dylan said, he has a review out there. Taylor has a review. We'll be doing newscasts, other reviews throughout the week. Next week, I'm going to try and drop a dynamic duo. I'm watching all these VOD movies on demand, so I'm going to do like a quarantine watch along. So it's been quite a ride so far. So let's see. I think we can get into this as usual. It's going to be a fun newscast. If you want the show ad-free, head over to Patreon. And then right now as well, if you go there, we're accepting movie requests because in the next few weeks, in case we're not going to have much content, the patrons have given up some great some great options to throw out there. So that could be lots of fun. But we're going to start off with our Patreon. We're going to start off with Jacob. I think this is how I say your name, Jacob. Falray. It's Falrey. Falray.
Jacob Ferry, I always thought it was.
Well, there's
it's
no
an I, isn't it? I thought it was an I, not an
Oh,
L.
it's an I. Boom, we're
It's an
good.
I.
From so
Yeah.
far, it looks like an L,
Hooray.
so boom. There you go.
Hooray.
So Jacob just joined. He's been a fan of ours for a while. I'm not a fan of him. Last year in the tournament, he picked Taylor to win. It didn't work out, but Taylor, he's a big fan of you. He supported you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great guy.
Yeah, so he asked for his Patreon question because everyone that joins Patreon gets to ask a question and make it a topic. He asked to take the universe of Marvel and DC, pick one character from each, and swap them over. So I'm gonna throw it to Kirklin Patzer. Do you know what you'd be doing here?
For in DC or in Marvel, like which one are we doing first? Or do I
Maybe just doing both.
User's choice. You doing both?
Yeah, I'm doing both. Why not?
Okay. I might just go basic here. I'm gonna go Spider-Man in the DC universe. I feel like it would just be so interesting because he is not really a dark character, and like DC is just known as like the dark universe. So I don't know, having him swinging around, seeing Batman. I don't think he would come across Superman or anything because they're just so on different tiers. I mean, no one's really on Superman's tier, but
It's pretty OP, yeah.
yeah, I have to go with my favorite web crawler, and for DC, I think I would go like Green Lantern or something something a little I don't know. I don't know what like version of Green Lantern. I just think like that whole like the what are they called, the Lantern Corps?
Yeah,
is that what they're called? I just think like having them in the universe with like Fantastic Four, the Avengers, something like that. It could be. I mean,
He
I don't
feels
know.
like he'd fit in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know too much about Eternals or anything like that, so maybe they just like are the Lantern Corps in the Marvel universe. But I guess we'll find out when that movie finally comes out.
Well, I'll go because you took my DC one. I was picking Hal just
Sorry.
because I thought I was going the Flash because he's a bit quippy and he has some like really good human nature to him. But I just thought, you already got a Quickster as far as like our speedster with Quicksilver. So I'm like, oh, not that. So if I had to go, so I did. I would put. I was back and forth if I needed a backup for it. So I have Hal, and also the backup for me, it's kind of like your Spider-Man is Joker, just because it's like it'd be fun to put that dynamic taken away. It is the thing of like without Batman, what does that character kind of function? Like what's his purpose in life? So I think that'd be fun to put him with some characters that, there's some dark characters in Marvel, but he's definitely one of the darker characters in the universe. So that'd be fun to put him in there with a bunch of bright colors. And then the reverse for the Marvel going to DC, I did kind of two. I did a hero and a villain. My villain, I was stuck between Dark Phoenix and Magneto. Dark Phoenix just because there's a lot of like super powerful people like Superman, Wonder Woman, etc. So I thought, oh, Dark Phoenix has some fun, but I just would like to put Magneto in that world to see, okay, there's no mutants, and that's always been his cause. What same thing, kind of like Joker. What does he do next? Does he kind of find the group that would be isolated and picked on and like very racism against and intolerance? Like, would he find that? Would he almost be a hero in that universe because he wouldn't have to fight for any cause? So I picked that as far as the villain, and for the hero Marvel, I put Deadpool over there just because almost the reverse of what you're talking about with Spider-Man, as far as like, or the same thing as like he could get darker, but at the same point, I just think there'd be lots of fun, and tons of people already ship him on Harley Quinn, and I think that'd be a good threesome as far as him, Harley Quinn, and Joker, just to see what happens. So those were my picks for Jacob's question.
Good picks. Good picks.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Yeah, I'm thinking, for Marvel going over to DC, DC is all about the realms and the locations, so I could picture none other than throwing Thor over there. I think it'd be a good dynamic to get Wonder Woman and him kind of, piecing off together or something like that. And I think it'd just be an interesting dynamic. And then the other way around, I'm thinking, for DC going to Marvel, I would pick Mr. Freeze. I think he'd make a great Iron Man villain because he got like the whole exosuit kind of thing. And like as much as I'm picturing like Arnold Schwarzenegger's Freeze, I think we'd have to cast someone else though for that role.
I think so. Anyone jump off to your
throwback.
face, Taylor? Like, who's like? Are you going for a serious Mr. Freeze, or are you going for another comedic, over the top one, but just with a different actor?
Nicolas
No, I
Cage.
feel like as far as villains go, there's not really a lot of like comedic ones in the MCU. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't think of one except for Army Hammer or
Justin
Hemorrhoid
Hammer?
Industries.
Justin Army.
Yeah.
Army.
Is that an actor? or
That's an
something?
actor. Yep.
So I don't know. Other than that, I think they're all serious. So I'd probably go with a serious character, and I don't know who I would pick for him, like to cast as him. Maybe like Lars Mikkelsen.
Lars Mikkelsen.
Oh my
all
god!
right.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's a
Can you
deep cut
cast
right
it?
there.
Yeah, that is a deep.
He picked him because he also voices Thrawn in Rebels, so I think that's probably the
Oh,
real
there
reason.
you
I
go.
picked
And he was great in The Witcher.
him. Yeah, he was in like 2 episodes. That's fine. Dylan, who would you pick for your DC Marvel switching over universes
Yeah.
choices?
So this is an interesting question because like there's different ways you could take it, right? Like, does it mean that you're taking someone and like forever I'm taking Batman and putting him in Marvel and he can't be in any DC stuff anymore, or is it just like, hey, I'm taking the MCU and like pulling one of these actors, one of these characters, and like putting them in DC? So there's a couple different ways to go about it. I mean, I think the easiest answer would be like Deadpool, pulling Deadpool from the MCU, or not the MCU, but just from Marvel, and popping him in like the current DC thing. And like imagine a
Mhm.
team up movie where they try another team up movie, but like Deadpool is just like shit talking how much of a mess like their team up movies have been. Like that could be
Yeah.
really interesting. And then I was
Mhm.
thinking another like like this is just a weird one-off movie that you would only ever do one of, and then you would like get the character back. But put Uncle Ben, like an alive Uncle Ben, just in the world of DC. Just like he wakes up one day and he's just like in, I don't know, in Gotham or something, and like Joker's doing all this crazy shit. Like I feel like that could make for a really good comedic movie. I mean, if you get the right person to do
Mhm.
it, but that's
I
kind of
don't
my
think he would
more
survive.
off the wall pick. Yeah.
I don't think he would survive Gotham.
No, I mean he didn't survive. New
Exactly.
York,
If you can't
so.
even if you can't even handle New York, Gotham is like a whole another can of worms.
Yeah, I mean that would probably be the climax of the movie would be his death, and maybe it'd be some crazy thing where like he's actually like Batman's dad or
Yeah, that's
something.
what I was
This whole-
thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, like that could be really fun. As for DC, this one's harder for me because I don't have like a deep knowledge of their characters. Like I think if you pulled Harley, like Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn over, that could be really fun. But also, I think I'd really like to see just like Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman just in the MCU because like I don't think we'll see any more like big team up movies in the DC at least for a while. Like we'll get them again eventually, but she's great and I'd love to see her in like a better like team up movie and I think that could be really interesting. I feel like a movie with like Wonder Woman versus Thor or like maybe they're working together or something could be like really it could work really well like conceptually. So those would be mine.
Nice, nice. So there you go, Jacob. Thank you very much for supporting the team as always. We really appreciate it. Like I said, recently we just did Howard the Duck up there. We just dropped the Mortal Kombat commentary track, the Suicide Squad commentary tracks up there. Soon Spider-Man be coming, Catwoman retro. So lots of good stuff getting early, like I said, ad free. But thank you very much, Jacob. We really appreciate that because you guys are the ones that keep the lights on here. You keep it moving. You guys are the ones that help us now, even when we're split apart, still find a way to like do this. So.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you.
very much,
Okay,
Jake.
let's see. I want to start off because we only have one piece of movie news, so we can just do that and then kind of move on to the gaming stuff because it's a bit more conversation with COD and the PS5. So there was the big thing that happened last week, and I think we kind of all knew it was coming. Black Widow officially delayed. So one, I want to get your guys' opinion on that, and if it gets delayed for like let's say for a while, what happens to the MCU? Because people have been speculating, right? They're always on a schedule. So there's that, and then also this week they've done a lot of like Onward has dropped to which I watched today, watched digital or put on digital. Lots of movies going to VOD and stuff like that for the price of $20. And Rise of Skywalker dropped early. Frozen 2 went to Disney Plus early, and then Onward's going to Frozen, or it's going to Frozen. It's going to Disney Plus in a few weeks. So I wanted to start with Dylan because you were on the different side of this, but you haven't told us why. So I want to hear your reasoning for some of this VOD stuff, and then obviously your Black Widow thoughts as well.
Yeah, so I guess my reason against like this VOD stuff is like almost more of a personal thing, right? Because if you look at like I don't know the costing of it, like originally I thought when I saw that it was like let's say it's $20 to rent a movie, and I thought okay that's US dollars, so by the time exchange rate and taxes like that's like $30 or more for a movie. And I just thought that was like pretty expensive, especially for me who doesn't have like my TV is pretty old. I don't have great speakers and stuff, so like I'd be getting a much worse quality version of the movie for like 3 times the cost. So I guess that's where I was personally, and like I like the idea of options for sure, but if the cost is like really high, then I don't know. Like I see a lot of movies for this podcast, right? And that would like really rack up the bill, especially when you factor in like a monthly cost of like Netflix, or I don't have Disney Plus anymore, but a lot of people do, or like Hulu or Amazon. Like it just that like would really add up quickly over the course of a year let's say if you just like had all your movies for 1 year on that VOD price. So I guess that's where I am on like the cost side of it, but I don't know. I think the option is good for sure. I think it's perfect for people like you, Travis, who have children, and it's like just so much easier for you to rent a movie and watch it at home, uh, as opposed to like someone like me. I just prefer going to the theater. It kind of works better that way. So I don't know. Do we want to talk about that before Black Widow, like particularly, or?
Yeah, sure. I'll jump off just because you mentioned the kid thing. Yeah, because because I talked with Greg and he's the same one. Check out his podcast, Super Civil. He's a great guy. He's rocking his Black Series helmet. So Taylor, he's a man after your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a Black Series helmet like that?
No, I just have my clone trooper helmet that I custom painted. That's it. And my Black Series lightsaber. That's it.
Oh, the lightsaber. I take the
Ooh.
lightsaber over the mask, so you got me there. So he's the same thing. He has kids, and I've seen that a few other times. And that's the thing for me. It's like I love the theater experience. So things, obviously, let's hope in the next few months life will start getting back to normal. There's things like Black Widow whenever it comes out, or like a next Star Wars or Tenet. Those are ones that I definitely for sure want to see in the theater. For me, it was the littler ones like the Ben Affleck's Way Back. And same thing like Dylan said, we do a lot of podcasts for this, or we do see a lot of movies for this podcast. And for me, sometimes with kids and finding a sitter or just wanting to spend time with them, it's tough when it's like, okay, to see a movie, it is only, let's say 2 hours, but you got to get the sitter, but then you also got like a car ride there and back. And that's not even talking about like maybe treats or stuff like that. So one, there's that idea, which I'm sure Taylor will talk about, of like, for our podcast, one thing would be good is like, oh, we all, even if it was 40, that's where we all give each other $10. We come over in a healthier time and watch it together. But even with kids, something like Ben Affleck's The Way Back drops on Tuesday. That's a movie that's like, do I really want to make time out of my schedule or time away from them to go see The Way Back? I really want to see it, but it's just like I have to be selective. I think for me, that's where I'm on the positive thing. Where the big movies, I still always probably see in the theaters. I love that experience. I'm still somebody that hate the theater experience. I love it. I love the seats. I love the anticipation. But for those movies like that and like The Hunt, which I'll review next week on the Dynamic Duo, like those movies where it's like, is this worth going to the theaters for the whole trip and the shenanigans? No. But then if it's at home and that's where, I think Dylan's right. If it was a Canadian currency switch, it would have been a bit much, but I was pleasantly surprised. The second I woke up Friday morning, I want to see one if it was just on my TV, and it was, and they are all $20 except for Stars, which was $25, but that wasn't a part of this whole like, we're releasing VOD. It was just like, we're going early, and that makes sense because I'd see, like, to me, Star Wars being $5 more than The Hunt or Onward or something like that makes sense because it's like a big movie, and even then $5 isn't that bad. So for me, I definitely like the options. I hope it happens more in the future because I would definitely get a chance to see more of those smaller movies that maybe I don't make time for, or even just don't want to. Even there's sometimes movies like with the Oscars, like they're movies that might just be a drama that is just like Marriage Story, right? I love that movie, and I think that was fine on Netflix. I didn't think I needed to see it in the theater, and I think that's the ones too where it's ones like I don't need the big screen experience. Where Tenet, when that comes out, Nolan, I don't want to see that on my 55-inch because like it's nice, and we turn the we had a nice day. We put on Onward, turn the lights, talk about some popcorn. At my house, unlimited popcorn, so that was nice. One thing before we go, I just wanted to mention because we got Chinese food, and I forgot to say at the beginning of the cast, is this what do they call them in the fortune?
Wonton?
The fortune. So
Fortune cookie? What are you talking about?
This was the saying: if you got it, flaunt it. Is that a fortune?
If you got it,
That's definitely not a fortune.
Some advice.
No.
No, most fortune cookies nowadays are more like advice. They're not really telling you your fortune or your future. It's kind of like guidelines, you could say.
I wonder if someone got sued because they said like put all your stock in like Apple or something, or I don't know. I should have used an example of a company that's going down, but like I don't know, maybe someone I don't know what. It's probably not the case.
Blockbuster stock.
Yeah, put all your stock in Blockbuster.
So I just had to mention that because I saw. But so that's my thoughts. I'm excited to see, and I'm also just excited from a business standpoint now that we've always talked about with games and movies. When is that switch going to happen? When is that like full-on digital or almost full-on digital going to happen? And now with this virus going around, it's kind of forcing the hand. So hey, maybe these sales come, and same thing, Birds of Prey comes out this Tuesday, so maybe it comes out and these movies do just all right, but people go, it's not enough there, or maybe there was a spike and The Hunt did really well on VOD, this and that. So that's also what I'm interested in, just the business side to see what changes. But Taylor Kirklin, sorry, go ahead.
I wanted to comment on something you said because I don't know what movie it is, but you said that one movie was like more expensive than like
Star
the
Wars.
other ones. Yeah, so that's concerning to me. Like, right, what if this becomes like pretty common, or like I don't think theaters are going anywhere. Obviously, right now they're on hold. Possibly, I don't even know if ours are closed in town. I haven't even looked.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, they are. Okay, so that makes sense. But let's say that like this becomes really popular, or eventually like would take over movies. Like, I would not want Endgame to be like $50 because they can get that much for it. Because to me, if you're like, yes, you're paying for this movie, maybe you get it for like a day or two. I don't know how long you get these movies for, but like. That's like if they change the price based on not the quality of the movie, but like I don't know, an Endgame, a Star Wars, they think they can charge $30-$40 for it, then that's like I don't know, that's not a world I would want to live in because movies are already like I don't know, I guess I compare them so much to games because I buy a lot of smaller indie games and stuff where it's like I'm paying $15 for a game that I spent hundreds of hours on, whereas a movie I'm paying $15 to see it once. So I don't know. I like the cost like comparisons there could be weird, and that's where that's where like if they'd start the streaming thing and see, hey, we can get $25 off this movie, I wonder how much they'd keep pushing that up and hiking that up and see how much they can gouge from people because people would pay for it. And I don't know, I would not want to get to the point where I'm spending 30, $40 on a movie that I have for 12 hours or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Taylor?
Well, at first I like the idea because I mean it's just them doing something in like reaction to all this coronavirus stuff. Like obviously you can't go out and see movies, so it is cool that they're doing that. But I do definitely agree with Dylan. Whereas like if I'm just sitting here seeing the movie by myself and it's like 20 to $30, it's definitely like I'm not getting the theater experience and I'm still paying way more for like a less enjoyable experience. I don't know. So I definitely see that side of it, but also it is cool that like if you can't go out to the theater right now, you can't do that stuff. And if you are in that situation where I don't know, there's like 4 or 5 people in your house, it is like it would be awesome to like basically get a $30 movie for 4 or 5 people. But as of right now, like I'm like Shay's not even home. It would just be me, so I'd be exactly what you just described, right? Like I'd be getting a less enjoyable experience for that much money. But I don't know. I also don't like you said, Dylan, how like they're charging more money for an Endgame or a Star Wars or something like that because they just know they can. Like it definitely, I don't know. It can get grimy. It's almost like it almost goes to that DLC thing, right? It's like we could put this in the game or we could just charge money for it because we know people will buy it. Well, I don't know. That's definitely a red flag. But so I can definitely see pros and cons to it. And if I was in a situation where I had like 4 or 5 people in my household, but it's not like you can get friends over right now. Like if everyone's kind of in quarantine, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm like I gotta think where I'm talking more like long term if this is something that sticks around. But obviously I think it's great that they're doing this so that these movies can still come out and people can have stuff to do when they're just kind of stuck at home and generally unhappy or stressed out. So I think it's great as like obviously reaction to COVID-19 stuff.
Yeah.
I guess my discussion topic was more like on the long term and
No,
if this
exactly.
sticks around. So
it's like if they do this and they're like, hey, this is actually like a good idea. People are really enjoying it. We're getting positive feedback from it, and then they just keep running with it, and then I don't know.
Yeah, especially
It'll be
because like
interesting to see.
already with a movie at the theater, right? Like the studio gets like all that money, right? Like the theater gets nothing. You have to pay for snacks if you want to justify that. Whereas if they hike that price up like 2 or 3 times, and I don't know who they'd split it with, but like that's just like even more money going straight to them. I don't feel like I don't know the background, but I don't know if there was like a ton more cost on their end to put it up, and that's why the cost differential is there. It makes sense, but I really can't see that being the case. But
no, for sure.
Anyway, yeah.
Taylor,
What do you think, Taylor?
I mean, for me, like I definitely see like both points being like pretty good. Like I'm someone who loves going to the movies. Ever since I was in elementary school, I just love going and with my friends on the weekends. Like it's just been my kind of thing, just to go to the movies and just have a good time and a good experience, and just it's such an awesome experience all in itself. And to have that kind of taken away nowadays is just very kind of shocking because like I have like a few movie tickets, you kind of like start stocking up on them for movies coming out like the next month, and then all of a sudden it's like boom, these movies aren't coming out. It's like, wow, this is like really happening. And then at the same time, for them to offer these movies for like a flat fee of like $20-$30, like for what we're doing, I definitely like I'm not opposed to it because it's like, oh, we could all do like a group like movie night or something like that. That'd be kind of fun. But then again, if it is something like an Endgame, that's something you'd want to see on the big screen for sure. I mean, I wouldn't want to see it like at home on my. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing it at home with like a sound bar and like a flat screen or whatever. But it's not the same as that movie theater experience, which is just so unique in itself. So there's takeaways, but then there's like pros and cons, I guess, to each side with it. All in all, I want movies to stay in the theaters. I think that's huge for me. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out. And I'm really hoping that we go back to having things in the movie theaters because, box office weekends will make more money than them doing like a digital release weekend or something like that. I feel like, because I feel like people would cheat the system. You put it out digitally, I feel like it'll just make it easier for people to watch illegal copies and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, that is
So
true.
it's just, I don't know. I don't know if this is like a catch-22 or what you call it, but
How are your
That's a good
refunds going,
point.
Taylor?
Yeah.
Because you were really worried about
I
your
got-
cinema.
well, I contacted the theater for A Quiet Place, and they're like, "Yeah, it's taken care of. You're gonna get an
They're
email
like, "We don't know
back
who you
saying it's
are."
gonna be
It's taken care of.
Yeah. So I got that, which is good. I paid for half, or one of the tickets with cereal box coupons. So,
Oh my goodness.
Cereal box coupons. I didn't know they still did those.
oh yeah, they still do. It's
What-
a good deal. You're literally getting the movie for free because you're getting cereal.
Is that fiber? Is that fiber cereal you were eating during the Mortal Kombat
Oh,
commentary
it
drive?
That was
was,
a mixed bag.
Honey
Come
Nut
on.
Cheerios.
He had
Oh.
Special K in there. He had everything.
Honey Nut, you're
Oh, yeah.
rocking the classic. That's pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Can't go wrong with Honey Nut.
So Taylor,
No.
I'll throw to
I
you
love some
first
honey in my
because
nut.
you were just talking about Black Widow. What do you feel about that in the MCU? Because obviously they had to delay it because most theaters were saying they wouldn't be open till like. Now they're saying like 4 to 6 weeks, but initially it was like, oh, April 30th. So it was like, okay, that's like a few days before Black Widow. That's a big risk. Obviously, they delayed it. What do you think is going to happen with it? And then what do you think is going to happen with the MCU in general?
Yeah, so the MCU is like a perfectly stacked like Jenga tower. And then you have like Feige is intricately pulling out these blocks, right? And stacking them on top. And then here comes Sony and just fucking knocks the tower
This isn't
over.
Sony's
But,
fault.
I know. But I'm getting to it. We're getting there. So the tower is like being, shakily like structured now and everything. It's very loosey goosey, but we're getting there. And then all of a sudden COVID comes in, and now Feige has this one block and he doesn't know if he's pulling the right block out.
Wow.
This is scary. So
Sony's one
it's,
one whole table, but COVID is just one little block. That's crazy.
oh yeah. So it's
You'll do
it's-
anything to shit on PlayStation, won't you? Dave?
Oh,
That was a cruel comment, man.
But yeah, it's just it's janky to think like, well, like obviously if this movie's pushed back by like a month or 2 months, it's fine because I can't think of like what other Marvel movies were coming out. Like New Mutants isn't going to affect the MCU in any shape or form, so we're good there.
The show is August, Falcon and Winter Soldier.
August, but even that's been delayed a little bit. So like if anything, like everything would probably be pushed back just a little bit. And like even that, like if things are spaced out, like if we had obviously Falcon Winter Soldier and then Black Widow over the span of like after those come out, it would probably be like a few months before our next media would come out for something in the MCU. I could see them just, shaving off an extra month and like, I don't know, bumping things up. Like they'll just play with scheduling. For Disney, it's like easy money. They're flashing 20s around the room, so it's all good.
20s, just 20s. Wow. And I know it's kind of separate, but I want to ask because we kind of forgot to touch upon the VOD. What do you think about the rumors? Just because it's kind of similar, the rumors of Warner Brothers thinking about releasing Wonder Woman VOD and not in the theater, because obviously that'd be a big game changer if that happened, right?
Well, that's the thing. If a company decides to be the initiator and the starter of something like that, the trendsetter,
Yeah.
as you could call it, that's where things get really interesting. So yeah, I just think it's if they go ahead and do it, then Disney's gonna come along and be like, well, maybe we should be doing that, and then you're gonna have Universal Studios come along and be like, well, we should be doing this too because Disney's doing it, and then everyone's gonna be doing it. So
I guess
it's a dangerous game.
Yeah, my follow-up is, do you see any potential future or timeline where Black Widow pops up on Disney Plus one day for us? If let's say COVID's going on to like August or something like that, and let's say Wonder Woman does say, oh, you know what, June 4th, whatever, we are going to put on VOD. Do you see before or after? Then be like, oh, we're just going to drop Black Widow as well.
Yeah, I think 100%. I mean, the fact that Onward had a really bad takeoff at the box office and they've just dumped it on Disney Plus literally like this bloody quick just blows my mind. So I think it would not stress them out at all to just dump one of their MCU movies on there, especially since it would probably be a good test to see what the turnover is on that. And it would kind of segue into like, oh, we got good numbers with it on Disney Plus, so that kind of can help us gauge how our shows are going to do. And who knows, maybe they'll just pump out of the box office altogether. So
Yeah. Kirkland, what do you think?
Uh, yeah, like, is there a set release date on it yet, or
No,
it's being
with
delayed?
with Mulan, that and New Mutants, they're all just indefinitely. Same as A Quiet Place too. I think the only movie, like big movie that got delayed that had a date was Fast, and because they delayed a whole year, so kind of
Right.
safe bet. But yeah, as of right now, all the Disney delayed movies are all just indefinite.
Yeah, it's crazy. I'd like it just. I'm just interested in like seeing how much money they lose because of all this, right? Like if
Oh
you have
yeah.
all the marketing set up and you have your release date, so everything's planning towards that, and then all that stuff gets shifted. Like it's just I feel like it just shakes the whole structure of like the movie, and I don't know. It's interesting because if it does go like I don't know, even like VOD compared to like an actual big screen release, I just feel like you're losing so much money there like
Mm-hmm.
in the first place, let alone if it goes to I don't know Disney Plus or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't see them putting these big things on Disney Plus,
No, it would
like
just
either way.
yeah
I don't
yeah
like. I don't know how they would do it though. Like if Black Widow did go to streaming, like I don't know if they would have some separate way to do it. Like
like
I can't see them putting it on Disney Plus like
no
on the same day it would come to theaters. There's just
no
no way.
definitely yeah like unless they no like even I was gonna say like on Amazon Prime you can like pay a subscription to get like more content or something like if they
Right.
did that route they would still be losing so much money. I feel I don't know. It's definitely a weird time, and this is like a huge like factor you throw in there of like the COVID actually like shutting down theaters and everything. So
Hmm.
I don't know. It's big question mark for me.
Yeah. And Wonder Woman is interesting because if they do go streaming with that one, that's huge, right? Because that was $1 billion movie, the first one, right?
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
So
close
that's
too. It was
that.
close. Yeah.
Okay, it wasn't quite, but that's yeah, that would be like the first movie of that caliber, talking strictly money, not quality necessarily, that would like go to streaming. Like that would be huge, and I would be super curious to see like how many people would rent
Mm-hmm.
it. And I don't know if like I mean who knows anyway if that movie would match or like beat the first one in terms of box office. It's hard to say, but it would be. I could see it breaking it just because the movie costs more on streaming, right? Like if it's twice the cost or something, then I don't know. I could see it like breaking that record possibly.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I agree. I don't think I see Black Widow going to Disney Plus or VOD yet. I think it's just a matter. I think if we do get to a time where it is like let's hope not, but if we do get to a time where it is end of July, August, and there's still like a bunch of stuff closed and movie theaters aren't really a safe spot, I could see it. I think I see the VOD option the same way as like Star Wars is still on VOD. They dropped it early, and same thing with Onward. It's on VOD for 2.5 weeks, and then it goes to Disney Plus. So there's still like a buffer period. So I could see them doing that, and then eventually, of course, it's gonna be on Disney Plus. But at first, just try and get people to do like the Insta buys, stuff like that. So I think it is a kind of day to day basis, and just because it is interesting to see what happens next year, because we've talked about a few times like next year is just stacked, and I just don't know if you can really shuffle the deck so much. Like, I guess you can. You just got to push like everything back, which is crazy to think
Yeah.
of. But it's just I guess that's the route they go, and it is kind of unfortunate that they didn't have Falcon or Loki or WandaVision done because they all stopped production during this. Like if one of those shows was done, that'd be perfect. You just swap release dates. There could be something like we've kind of speculated that maybe Black Widow leads into something Falcon Winter Soldier, so that could be a issue, but maybe you just swap an end credit scene here or there. I don't know. You find a way of explaining it, but I think if one of the shows was done, I'd say okay, 100%. And I still, if I had a gun in my head, I'd say no, it's not going to happen. But I think it's just if we do get in those later summer months, I think they're just going to have to, because right now it's projected that the entertainment industry altogether is going to lose $17 billion. That's a lot of money. And that's just now, right? That's like not down the line. And that's going to be from maybe months and months of, that's why they put Onward on, is because months and months of not new content, not new movies to put on there. So it's just that I don't see them wanting to do it, but they might just get strong armed, And the same way with Warner Brothers, like they've kind of put out some statements saying like, oh, that's not really in the plans now. But the report was from like a B plus tier, so it was enough. It's people that have gone stuff right before, and we've heard studios deny it before. So if they did do it, that could be a game changer. I do agree with Taylor. Of course, you have the chances of people ripping things and putting them online, but I guess you just don't know till you know, right? And maybe it is still like that hit is still not big enough to really hurt it from making money, and maybe that would make more people like my parents go, oh, like I don't know if I want to same thing we talk about, go out to theaters, but we can just hit this button, and let's say it was just a $20 purchase to watch Wonder Woman, the new one that everyone's talking about, and there's nothing else out right now. Like it could kind of have that effect, even though we are going to go into a fact we're in America, Canada, lots of other places, people are going to be on unemployment. So I don't know if they'll have a lot of money to dish out, but so it's like interesting in a morbid way as far as the business of what's going to happen next few weeks, because me and Taylor talked about this on Clone Wars. Like nothing has ever affected the movie or TV or video game business like this, right? Like we're going to talk about in games, but like consoles could be delayed. E3 got canceled. Comic-Con has to be next. That's coming up in June. They haven't said anything, but it's just that like I don't know why they actually haven't, but it's, you know, fucking like Disney World shut down. WrestleMania gonna wrestle in front of a crowd with no people, you know? So it's crazy times.
So weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, as far as I know, like most events that are in the summer months of like July and August haven't canceled.
Mhm.
Well, I haven't, at least for me personally, I haven't seen too many cancel yet. Like they're saying, hey, we're, you know, just taking it day by day, but haven't canceled as of yet. But obviously things in June have already dropped out,
Yeah.
so it's possible. But oh yeah, I wanted to add on, like obviously MCU is very much a machine, even more so now that there's going to be shows thrown in the mix. So these shows getting delayed, like obviously we've talked about Doctor Strange, WandaVision, and Loki, like might all kind of be connected somewhat or like lead into each other. So, you know, back in February, whenever it was that we did our MCU predictions, I predicted that Doctor Strange was going to get delayed, not for this reason, but for other reasons, because of the director, this, that, the other thing. So I think that's absolutely going to happen now, but considering those shows are getting halted. So I don't know. I'll take the point. You know, it's not how I wanted it to happen, but
Yeah, I think you're definitely getting that point there, because it's not looking good for the MCU. You guys got anything to add on any of those topics before we moved on?
I don't think so. It sucks that Black Widow's getting delayed.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hop back in the MCU. It feels like it's been a very long time because Endgame and Spidey were stacked so close to each other. So we've really been in a drought for a while here.
Yeah.
And shout out to New Mutants, which will never see the light of day.
Man, yeah, just release it. That one needs to go on streaming. Please.
I
It was
think
made for streaming.
Yeah, I honestly think there's potential for that one. So, do you guys got any other movie or TV news you want to shout out?
No movie or TV from me.
No, I don't think so.
Taylor? You there, Taylor?
Yeah, I said no.
Okay, just checking. This guy,
For a second.
this guy the other day, he pretended when we did Clone Wars, he just pretended he was dead, like no air. So I just asked him like twice if he was dead. And he's like, "Oh, I got you." First day of testing.
That was after the like hour-long error situation. I was like, oh, I gotta do this to him.
Wow, my
my
stress
God.
level through.
That's cruel.
Okay, so we'll start with this one because this is a big topic, obviously. So, PS5 had a kind of a conference or like whatever, a press conference in a way that was designed for GDC. Obviously, like we just talked about with COVID-19, that was canceled. So they kind of did this presentation in front of everybody, or maybe fake people. We'll get into that. I'll start with Dylan, and then I'll go myself, and then I'll go to you, Taylor and Kirklin, just because I don't think you guys got a chance to see the actual conference. So Dylan, I'll start with you because I know you and I both watched it. What are your impressions about the actual revealing of these said details, and then the actual details?
So yeah, if you guys haven't seen this, essentially, their technical the architect for the PS5 and the PS4 on an hour-long live stream to talk about the details of this console. An hour long. That's no joke. It was an hour, and it felt like 7 hours.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was really weird, right? Because we've been in such a drought for PS5 knowledge. Like a few months ago, we got the logo, which doesn't matter at all, right? And like since then, it's just been nothing. So I don't know. It's weird because obviously this was intended for GDC. GDC is more for the industry, right? Like a lot of the GDC talks will go up on YouTube later, but this was a live stream, right? And like it felt, or at least the way they like, I don't know, promoted it on their page, made it seem like it was going to be an event for PS5, right? So I don't know, the expectation is just way off for like what this presentation was, which was just a very dry cut to the, like, I don't know, very in depth of like, here's each like every last teraflop of the PS5 and what it can do. And it was just way too dry and way too long. Like if you haven't watched it, don't go watch it. Just go read like a recap online from IGN or whoever, because that's all the information you need. And like I don't know, it's weird because it's obviously not intended for me. It's not intended for like the consumers. It's intended for developers. Yet it was live streamed to everyone. So I get it, right? Like they're like, okay, well, we had this talk, no one's gonna see it. Let's put it up on YouTube instead for everyone. But it just didn't seem like the right thing to do, especially when Xbox has been killing it. Like every couple weeks, it seems like they have another drop of here's more information. Even on like Monday last week, like a couple days before the PS5 event, Xbox dropped some more information about their console that was all really concise and good news. So it just like I don't know. I feel like PS I don't know. It almost feels like they're regressing to what they almost like their PS3 like situation where it was just kind of scary in terms of like how they were going about this console, and there was all these fumbles that they had. In terms of the actual information, like at the end of the day, and like the tech breakdown, it all looks great to me. Like it's a super powerful console, and there's some really good stuff in there. Like one thing he was talking about was like how long it'll take developers to uh like learn how to use this console and like use it correctly. And it's like a really short I don't know the terms, sorry, excuse me for that, but it sounds like that's a really good sign because developers will be able to get this tech and like get into making their game as soon as they possibly can and make use of all of the power that's in there. In terms of the actual power of the PS5, it's weaker than the Xbox Series X, but only in some ways. Like in terms of just like raw power, it's a little bit less. But in turn, like I don't know, I've done some research online and heard some other people who actually know what a lot of this technical stuff means, and they're saying that's like it's going to be significantly faster, whether that's load times or just like environments and like how many details you can load in, like how quickly you can do that and stuff. And it sounds like that is just going to blow Xbox out of the water. So that's kind of what I prefer more. Like I'd rather take less load times and better frame rates than I don't know, like just raw like power necessarily. So for me, it all is good on paper, but the presentation itself was, oh god, Travis said at the top that it's like really good to fall asleep to. And if you're ever struggling to fall asleep some night, just put on that stream and Mark Cerny will sing you a lullaby for sure.
Yeah, so I think Dylan touched upon it. I think the key thing with this one is like messaging or marketing. And it's the same way, like we always talk about our podcast. I never say like, oh, you're going to get the most fact-based, serious, like really in-depth. No, we always say, hey, we're a bunch of friends talking, hanging out, and we're going to do as most knowledge we can and have a good time. And that's how we always promote the podcast. And I feel like with this, they from the beginning should have been like, oh, this is something for developers. You can watch it, but it's going to be very technical and very inside baseball and things like that. And I think them just even calling it like the road to PS5. One, I just felt it was weird to drop it because I get it. You don't want to stop everything right in the middle of all this stuff going on, but it just felt like that was like one of the days where so much COVID-19 stuff was really popping off and was getting really scary. And they're just like, oh, and here's the PS5. I think you could have done that. Oh, this is a very techy video. Or I think you could have done what Xbox did and just release a blog post, release something. You know, I don't think it needed to be a video. So I think the messaging and marketing was all off for this. It felt like it was going to be more of a event. I wasn't expecting a huge thing, more event. The actual just performance or the conference, two things. One, Mark Cerny, it's great. He's a genius of a guy. He's created, great consoles that have sold millions and millions and billions of dollars, right? But one, I don't think him being on stage talking was a good call for that long, at least, because it was you need somebody to either be a bit more energetic, charismatic, or even just come down and break it down in English. It's almost like it should have been a two-manner where he gives the really technical stuff and then there's someone to be like, oh, okay, so what he actually means, or like, this is what he means, or even then just something to cut it down. I think this would have been better as just like even his narration over a video of quick cuts, like a kind of like a Nintendo Direct, something like that. I know they've been playing with that, but something in that realm. It made them look very out of touch with the CGI crowd. That was the second I saw that I went, oof. It just because I don't even know why. Everyone knows what's going on. Everyone knows you're not supposed to be in a room like more than 10 people. So it's like there's nothing wrong with Mark Cerny just being this. So it's just like seeing this guy like adjust his watch like every 12 minutes in a loop was like, this is annoying and this seems out of touch. And that's my biggest thing is like, I'm not worried. I think that's the big thing for me. I'll always put a disclaimer in the same way as Taylor that I will always buy PlayStation from now on because of their exclusives. With back in the 360 era, I didn't have anything really pulling me one way or the other. 360 was cheaper. All my friends had it, so it was great. And that's when I was playing a lot more games that were just cross-platform. Nowadays, I am in the little time I get to play games, I'm about exclusives. So like The Last of Us coming up, Spider-Man, Horizon. So you can take whatever I say as like a biased standpoint, but I think this is it's not a marathon the way I describe it. It's like a boxing round. If you don't know, or like a boxing, if you don't know boxing, they have rounds and they go like 3 minutes and it's always based about like, oh, how many hits, where you get hit, and if you fell down, you're losing some points, stuff like that. And like this is going into a new fight. And Sony for like 8 years has won every fight against Xbox. So it's like Xbox started the round like a few months ago by here's some specs, here's some messaging, backwards compatibility, smart delivery, all this great stuff. So the match started and they're like pepper 'em with some shots. And then when Sony blocked a couple, it was their turn. They swung and they completely missed. And then Xbox hit them with one more. That was the like, oh, we're still coming out November 20th or what, like 2020. So this is the thing. I think if for some reason the boxing match stopped right now and it was like there was a fire and you had to leave, Xbox for sure has won round one, and I think as far as just the messaging and the specs reveal, they've won that. Even though, like Dylan said, there's things like they've said the speed's really good. The other thing they were talking about was like patches for games, because lots of times with patches nowadays, they take so long because they got to actual copy the game format, where now they're making it so patches is just a patch alone, so it's going to be much quicker. So there was some great stuff in there. I just think they didn't break it down well, and that's my kind of feeling is it is a boxing match. It's just that they won the round one. I think Sony wasn't expecting it, and yeah, Dylan kind of insinuated that earlier. It's just that's my worry of going in. I will get this, even like price. I think they're going to be both pretty comparable. I think now they got to make sure they got a killer reveal when they come out, and then I also think price point does have to be on par or lower than Xbox. It's tough because they're having like a blinking competition, but I think Xbox kind of won this round. But that's the thing. There's many rounds to go. There's the big reveal for both of them. There's the marketing up to that. There's all these things, but the biggest thing I'll say before I hand off to Taylor Kirkland is, or my last point is just they feel like they're a bit on the back foot, and that's exactly what Xbox was after that Xbox One reveal, where they revealed all this stuff, and then Sony got to come out and be like, oh, well, here's our stuff, and everyone's like, this is great, and then Xbox had to be like, oh, well, we can do that, or we're going to take away the Wi-Fi connection, blah, blah, and that's where already, like, this backwards compatibility, it's been kind of confusing. Some people saying, like, oh, there's a few games at launch, no, there's many games at launch, oh, you could do a bunch of eras, no, it's just going to be a PS4. It's also similar to the Avengers game, where it's just like, okay, what is the message, what is happening? So that's my worry, is that they even if they don't have a plan, you got to make it feel like you have a plan, and they're not doing it. Xbox is doing that. Now, do I think this wins them the war? I actually don't. I think the only thing that would hurt them is a Xbox One style conference where they come out and let's say the Xbox One is even 500 and they go, it's 600, it's 650, and it's like some stupid thing like, oh, you gotta be connected to Wi-Fi. I think they have so much good grace that they're pretty safe, and I think most mainstream people aren't going to pay attention to this. I think the name of PlayStation and the games, just stuff even like Spider-Man and God of War, will make people be like, I'm going to get a PS4 for this reason. So in the long run, I don't think it's going to hurt them. I don't think it's going to make them lose too many sales, but I think for just momentum-wise, it didn't do a good thing.
Yeah, I think you made actually a great suggestion. If they had two people up there, like you would have a quick like 10-15 minute thing with like whoever, like Sean Layden's gone now, obviously, but whoever is like stepping into those shoes or someone like that who's really good at the stage presence and stuff like that, have them up there for 10-15 minutes to share like the big stuff, like here is the solid state drive, this is what it means, very quickly.
Yeah.
And then like after 10-15 minutes, hand it over to Mark Cerny and say, hey, he's going to break it down, like what all this means in detail. And then maybe they should have thrown like, here's what it looks like, right? Like maybe they should have thrown that in there just for the fanboys, just like, here's what it looks like, here's what's inside, here's Mark Cerny talking about it for 45 minutes. And I don't know, maybe that would have helped them out possibly, but
Taylor
Kirkland.
Oh, Taylor Kirkland, yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, I don't know. Like hearing like new console specs and stuff, I don't really I don't really get like all jittery like on anticipation of hearing them. It's pretty much like I know it's gonna be better than the last console. I know it's gonna be fast. I know it's gonna be all these
Yeah.
things. I know load times will be faster. So or like that's just what you'd expect, right?
Yeah, if they're not, it's like,
So
what have you been doing for the past 5
yeah,
years?
yeah, exactly. So just hearing your guys' takes, it sounds like the whole reveal of it could have been handled a lot better. I've definitely seen, not necessarily a conference, but just like a reveal for something of them just being too much on the engineering side of things and like not um like dummying it down for just I don't know the average
Yeah.
guy that just wants to
Yeah, for
know
sure.
if my PlayStation or if my Spider-Man file is gonna load quickly or not, right? Just so I don't know. I guess I would agree with what you guys said just from having no knowledge of actually seeing it. I will definitely avoid the conference. I feel like I have absolutely no reason to watch it. Yeah, it's just hearing like a reveal like that. It's definitely nothing that I'd be like, oh, I'm probably gonna hesitate on the PlayStation buy, or I'm gonna think about getting an Xbox One. You know, or yeah, it's just I'm not that type of person that gets super jived up on specs like that.
That's fair.
What about you, Taylor?
For me, like I definitely like I have an interest in like the power and the performance of these consoles. I think it plays a factor into any new piece of technology for sure. Um, but in this sense, like I definitely can understand like a lot of what you're saying, Dylan, about how like the PlayStation definitely surpasses Xbox in certain like aspects technologically wise, and it's unfortunate because the Xbox and like Microsoft has flaunted what they have and what they are more powerful on in their aspects over the PlayStation, and to me they've done a good job advertising that. And whereas you have Sony that's come out and revealed their specs, but again, like there's a lot of people like Kirklin that don't follow the details of what the performance capabilities of these consoles are. And now you have a very poor performance and revealing show of what the PS5 can do. And everyone, even though like maybe the P or maybe even though the PS5 is more powerful in many aspects compared to the Xbox Series X, people aren't going to believe that because everyone is now just defaulting to the Xbox, saying, "Oh, it's good, better power, all this mumbo jumbo, blah 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 blah." And now that's to me, that's just like it's hit and slammed Sony like really really hard in the sense like they need to get back on the right track. If they are more powerful and they have all these like one ups against Xbox, they need to market themselves properly. They need to take advantage of that and showcase what their console can properly do. Because if they just roll out like, okay, yeah, our console can do like faster speed rates, loading times, all this stuff, and roll out these great games, that'll be good. But you know, this needs to start sooner than later. And the more that they keep procrastinating and not putting out their information, it's going to get harder and harder and harder. And now that you throw out like a massive serious pandemic onto their hands and a delay possibly of the console release, it's just going to create more risks, for themselves. And granted, it gives them more time to promote. That's all, fair enough. But then they don't exactly know what Xbox is doing. Like, this is something I said a while ago. Like, if Sony decides to delay their console release, but Xbox goes ahead and pushes it out, or vice versa, this could really affect this whole console release between the two companies, and it could either devastate or lead to a huge success for either or both consoles. Like it's hard to say at this point. So I think Xbox, they bit the bullet. They released how their console looks and everything, and to be honest, I don't see anyone making jokes about how it looks anymore. People are just now, they've gotten over that hump, and now people are just talking about what the Xbox One can do. There was a little bit of a hump the other day where they talked about how uh, a little confusion about whether the Xbox Series X will be able to play all these Xbox One games, and people were confused, like, oh, is it going to be able to play all of them? But it's just like, okay, no, the console will play like thousands of Xbox One titles, but not all of them, meaning like not all like the Kinect titles and stuff. But like this is information, like they keep revealing new things that are getting people excited, and I get that this is like the first main thing that we've had from PlayStation. And again, like a conference that they did, as boring as it was, it's more customized towards like devs out there so that they know what they're working with, I guess, if they're going to work on any future projects for the company or for the console and such, which is good. But again, it's just they need to start rolling out information to build up excitement and build up hype, because yeah, people right now, are they excited about the console, or are people excited about just the exclusives and they're just getting the console because of the exclusives? I think you should be able to be excited about a console, and like I'm super stoked for Xbox, the new Xbox. I mean, granted, like I'm not huge on what its capabilities are, but I do invest a little bit of my time to study up on what they can do, because I think that's important. But
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, like you said, Kirkland, I'm gonna get the new console because hopefully it is more powerful than the current one I'm playing, and I'll slap a game in there and I'll just play it, till 3 a.m.
Yeah, those
Nice
are
and easy.
all good points, and like you bring up a good point too. Like I'm just curious what like PlayStation or Sony rather's like plan has been, or what they were planning on rolling out. Obviously, COVID throws a wrench in everyone's plans, and they nothing really they can do about that. But like it's weird for Sony because it's hard to say if they've been holding off on a lot of this information because they have like some huge exclusives coming out this year, like Ghosts is decent, but then like Last of Us 2 and Final Fantasy 7 are going to be massive games, right? So obviously they do want to have that focus on those games still. And is that why they're holding off on so much stuff, right? Is because they want those games to come out and then start supporting it huge. But then it feels like, well, if you're coming out in holiday, like that's not a lot of time to promote it and make it a known thing, especially without E3 having the presence, or well, this year is not going to happen at all. So it's super weird, and it makes sense why Xbox is trying to get the head start on them. And I'm just super curious when the next Sony thing is going to be, right? Because it's always been these massive gaps between information. Like we got those Wired articles like a year ago that honestly had some of this information in there, not the exact specs, but saying like, hey, it's going to have a solid state drives, and it's going to have solid state drive. Load times are going to be super low. So we already kind of knew some of this stuff like a year ago. Now, obviously, there is more details that was in this announcement, but yeah, you just got to wonder what their overall game plan is, and if it is just like get these exclusives out and then focus on it, or I mean, I feel like they should be doing it right now, right? Like they need to match Xbox right now. So
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting the next little while to see what they do, because like we all said, all the plans are kind of thrown off a bit, right? So it's who knows if they even release. Xbox came out, there was some back and forth of if it was Thanksgiving or now it's saying fall, but either way, they're still advertising fall 2020. But at the end of the day, that could be a crapshoot, right? They're just advertising that for now. So, and like Taylor said, I would love to see, not love because I just want to get consoles and I don't want them to delay it because people are out of work, stuff like that. I would just love a console generation where if one did launch before the other, what that would look like. But again, even then, I've always said, and I still feel the same way, I don't know if Xbox is, I'm sure they would love to outsell the PS5, but I don't think that's their goal. I think their goal is just to create a system that would get additional people onto it. I don't think they're trying to be, I think they're trying to be like a really solid number two, and I don't think they're going for number one. I could be wrong, but I just still don't get that vibe. This week was the most I got that vibe, actually, so maybe once we get closer it'll change. But lately it is, or like the lead up has just felt like, okay, they're just kind of hanging out. They want to get any sales they can, and they're more about their features or their services, right? So
yeah, I mean, for Sony PlayStation, as Taylor said, it's all about those exclusives, right? When we see Spider-Man 2 and we see like how beautiful this game is, or like they display like a load time where you teleport across the city in like half a second, like that's where people will start popping off, getting back in their court.
Oh yeah. So any other game news? I know we got the Call of Duty review about them, but anything else to shout then, because I can kind of end the show, I guess.
Oh, let me check my notes, but I don't think there was much going on.
While they're checking notes, I forgot to pin this at the beginning. It's going to be on social media as well. If you're listening to this live, like the day it released, like either Sunday morning or Saturday night, the 21st, 22nd. 22nd on Mixer, we're going to drop a bunch of links on social media, so check out our Twitter and Facebook as always. But 7 p.m. PST-ish, we're going to be on there. We're going to be myself, Dylan, Taylor. We're going to be playing some Call of Duty Warzone. We've had a lot of fun like that. Yeah, we just got to number one last night. I had a big to do with that. I'm projecting some powers through sleep, but but you know what, Taylor, at least me getting a number one, I feel like that's justified for the one that I got booted out. So now I feel not too bad.
Yeah, there you go. It's balanced out for you.
Yeah, even though it should be 4, but
the last thing I was going to shout out is the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 DLC, the final one. The Fantastic Four DLC comes out on the 26th. I think
you're right.
Wednesday, Tuesday.
I thought that was Thursday.
When is that? That's a Thursday, I guess?
Yeah, Thursday, yeah.
might be Wednesday. I don't know. It's next week.
It's Thursday.
So we'll be playing on Thursday. There you go. So we'll be doing a review coverage of that at some point. But they've been rolling out like the costumes that are coming with that. They've shown off 15 of them already. So that's pretty crazy. And that's even without the new characters. So I can't wait for this pack. Like there's gonna be so much content in there, and all the costumes look amazing. So I'm super stoked for that DLC.
Yeah, you've been dropping those pictures. They're looking really good. I've loved, especially there's some of them like the Ronin one. You got Yelena's Black Widow. Yeah, that was great. I love the new Star Lord one. It's looking very like OG classic. Yeah. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, we're gonna play because that's Thursday. So we'll probably play it for a weekend and maybe like meet up or something on a Monday or Tuesday remote and do some reviewing. But I'm excited to get my hands on Doctor Doom, presumably. You know, so I can't wait.
Oh yeah, he's confirmed. So you're all good there.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I can't wait. I'm gonna try to dip my toes back into some Marvel lines this week. I'm very busy, but I'm gonna try my best to just because I love that game, and it's a weird journey. You know, my holding out hope that they're gonna pull Smash and announce some more DLC, but I doubt it. Yeah. But even if they keep doing add-ons, I love this game and I'm very happy with it. And I cannot wait to play it. So yeah, we'll do a review, and then if they do no more DLC, we'll probably in the not near future, but next few months or so, do like a finals like ranking and goodbye to the game because it's been a big part of the cast. And you know what, people get out there. If now's the time too. There's tons of DLC. Get on that.
It's probably on sale too.
Yeah. Buy it so we can get more of this because I want a fourth one now. Now that we've got the third one, I want the fourth one. So
yeah, it's crazy that game came out like July, so like less than a year ago. And within a few days, like, the game started, I think, was it 36 characters-ish? It's going to be like over 50 now with like costumes for everyone, some new modes. Like, it's pretty crazy how far the game's come in less than a year.
Totally. I remember being super cautious when we first saw like the first couple skins I had in the game. It's like, oh no.
Oh, yeah.
Look at us now.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right, so now we'll move on to Call of Duty Warzone. Taylor, I'll let you start it off. Also, you don't need to worry about spoilers because it's just Call of Duty. But Taylor, you're a big, massive Call of Duty fan. So you've kind of had a little. I think it's been over a little week now. It's been out, yeah, because it dropped like a Thursday or Friday. So give your thoughts, your view, and yeah.
Yeah. So like I haven't gone like in depth with a lot of like battle royales. Like I've played. Obviously, like Fortnite. I never played Apex, but I played a lot of Black Ops 4's Battle Royale. That was kind of like the first Call of Duty kind of like take on this kind of environment, I guess you could say, or it's like gameplay. So, like for me, like this Warzone experience is like the pinnacle of Battle Royale. I am absolutely in love with it, and I feel like, compared to what Black Ops 4 tried to set up, and Black Ops 4, like that being said, it was good in its own way, but it had a lot of problems and it just had a lot of things going against it. And just what they've done with Warzone, it feels so perfectly balanced. And even when it rolled out, there were hardly, if any, like bugs or issues or glitches. It was just like the odd timeout that's happened, which is normal because it's probably there's so many people that are hopping online now. They just passed 30 million active users, which is just legendary.
Damn,
and
that's crazy.
It's just the game is just absolutely fantastic. And like for me, like I definitely hop on like Call of Duties every year when they pump out a new one. Like it's just my go-to whenever I need like just to pass like a quick half an hour of my time. It's easy to hop on and play. And for me lately, a lot of them have been kind of like subpar. Nothing has been like super, super exciting, especially Black Ops 4. Like Black Ops 3 was definitely like hype for me, but then Black Ops 4 kind of took it down a notch. And then Call of Duty World War II I didn't enjoy it that much. So I was kind of like down the dumps when it came to Call of Duty. But then when this came out, I wasn't sure exactly what I was getting into. But like this game has just blown me out of the water. I've loved every aspect of it, and I've been actively playing and engaging with it, like watching a couple streams of it every now and again, and just trying to do like the best that I can with it. And like as far as like the games go, I am an active like tournament-based 1v1. Like I'm so hooked into that. And now with Warzone, it's just totally changed that dynamic because they've got the whole experience of like, okay, you're a team of threes, you're going in there, and then if you die, you're going to the gulag for that 1v1. And sure enough, like there's some days where I'm just like, oh fuck, I just don't have it in me because it's so exhausting to put so much effort into like the Warzone itself, and then you get that 1v1, it just can kind of go right over your head. But like we've done some games like where you and me, Dylan, for example, like last night, like we had like so many scenarios where we're like flanking like enemies and just working like so cohesively as a team, and then there's other times where it's just like you have such shitty luck and you can't you can't get your footing like properly established, and it's just wild. And that being said, though, it's just such a great experience. The maps that they've conjoined together are just absolutely fantastic, and the like the graphics are just so beautiful in this game. And it's just, I never thought I'd be in a situation where I am actually playing Call of Duty with you guys, and where I feel like because whenever I would talk about Call of Duty, I feel like you guys like, oh, it's just Call of Duty again, whatever. But it's nice to actually feel like your guys' excitement, like it warms my heart, because now I'm getting to enjoy one of my favorite game franchises with you guys now, which is just awesome. And
He's blackmailing me.
I know. To finally be able to play one of my favorite game franchises with my friends is just absolutely amazing, because we've never, at least with me, I've never been able to actually play online games with you guys in this sense. And now with the ability of crossplay, it's brought it to life, which is just absolutely fan-freaking-tastic. So whatever future updates they keep rolling out for this, I'm just super excited. And this has literally only been like the first week and a half of Warzone pretty much. So whatever comes out next, whether it's a new like large map or new vehicles or just new like in-game content that they throw into it, I can only see it going up, because like, I mean, the bar is really, really high from what they've done. So I don't know. I don't know what else I can say on it. Just the fact that if you haven't played Warzone, just hop on there, clear the space, on your hard drive.
You'll need to clear some space already.
Dude, I did delete two
yeah.
games.
And it's legendary. You're gonna have a lot of fun. You're gonna have a lot of laughs, and you're gonna have a lot of times where you're just absolutely livid. So.
Yeah. So what's the deal? Is it just a beta, or is this just forever going to be free?
I believe it's forever going to be free.
Yeah. Okay. I was going to say, because if they ever like, okay, beta's over, you have to buy Call of Duty to play this, like they are going to lose like, I feel like 60% of their like players. Like I feel
they would. And that's the thing that they've done really, really well with this Call of Duty is, after the Black Ops Seasons Pass being like $60-$70, this that was obviously Treyarch, other companies and such, but like you have Infinity Ward, and different developers kind of like taking the helm with this, and they've completely stripped away, paying to gain any advantage in game. And it's funny because I see people saying in the comments like, I'm not going to play Battle Royale because people just are going to pay to win and all this mumbo jumbo. It's like, you got to do your research, because there's none of that. The only thing you're paying for is operator skins and
what?
Like cool, like customizable, like cosmetic stuff like that. That's it. You're getting like gun blueprints, but there's nothing that gives people an advantage, because you play a few games, you get like rank 20, and you can build your own custom loadouts. And at the end of the day, it's all how you use the guns, what guns you're going to use. You kill other players, you can pick up their guns and use their shit. It's just the game itself is just so, it's pulled away from pay and like buying seasons passes and everything, because each season that rolls out, it's free DLC. We got Rust for free, which is absolutely fantastic. Tons of new guns and gear for free. There's just so much that's coming out. So them using Warzone as a way to make more money, I don't see it happening. I don't see it in the cards at all, which makes me so at ease. So I think it'll be, beta, I think is just something they slap on there just to kind of, have people hop on because it's free all across the board. If it was more of a beta sense and a limited trial, then I don't think it would contribute to everyone ranking up like on their main accounts and characters, because like Travis is like level 70 something, Dylan, you're like level 50 something, and if you were to buy the base game,
whoa, why are you throwing shade at me, man? Why are you trying to throw me under the train?
My God.
If you guys were to like buy the base game, you would maintain all your ranking and unlocks and leaderboard.
Taylor, I am not buying the main game, okay?
I know, and I don't expect you guys to or whatever. That's totally fine, but I'm just saying, like, if you did, it would maintain everything. So I feel like in the beta sense, it's just like a cosmetic title they slapped on there. So I feel like it's not a limited time. I feel like it's going to be a consistent thing. Because even like Fortnite, when their battle royale, didn't they just say it was beta or roll it out as beta, or am I mistaking on that?
No idea.
Who knows, man? I'm not a Fortnite guy, but I think that is interesting. Like, obviously, Call of Duty is like one of the most profitable games. Like, well, if you look at like each year, it's the most profitable game, right? Just every year, it's still like stacking up sales and sales and sales. So I think they want to have this free version out that anyone can play to get. Because I mean, you're right. Like, think about that. For years, like over a decade at this point, Call of Duty is just like this big top selling game, right? So there's people like me and Travis who haven't played these games in like 7 or 8 years, but put this free version out, and it kind of sucks us back in. And I think they want us, or they want the game to be like, right now it's like been on #1 on Twitch since it came out, right? Like the most viewed game. People are talking about it again. You're getting old school players who are back in it. And so that's why I think they'll keep it free, right? Because they already are making enough money from like the game sales, and yes, they'll get more because of this. But even just like being in the spotlight, and I mean, who knows? Obviously, Twitch like is a very much a flavor of the month thing, and Fortnite has stayed up there. So who knows? Maybe this will stay up there and contend with Fortnite in the most viewed slot for months to come. Who's to say? But I think they like it right where it's at. I think it's a perfect spot for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think
Who's up next?
I think Dill makes a good point there. Is just like, because I can go next on the mainstream point, is I think they just want new eyes on it. They don't want it the same way Taylor, you talked about, like, oh, you talked about on the cast for many years, but it was just you talking about it on the cast, right? This way they got me right now talking about Dylan. They got other people, even people that obviously I'm doing for podcasts, just going around. It's it's free to play, so I've even talked to a few people at work about it. Yeah, my history with COD, I played it like in middle school like everyone else, but I wasn't big even in the online scene. Like, as I've said many times, I'm a solo game guy, so I wasn't even big to that. And then the last game, we've talked about this many times, the last game I ever played was Ghost, just because PS4 didn't have that many games. Got it, trash Call of Duty game. So I was kind of done with Call of Duty, and even then, like, when the last, like, I think from then till maybe Doom, I can't remember a first-person shooter I had bought that was one of a newer game or something like that, not like a remaster, like something like a Golden, like even played. So other than Doom, I won because I really liked back in the day, and it was something unique where Call of Duty wasn't really doing anything for me. So this was free. I wanted to try it. Never played any battle royales, anything like that too. So I just wanted to try it, especially Taylor was getting hyped. So that, okay, give it a chance, especially we're going to talk about this podcast. So that, okay, I'll give it a try, maybe play it for a little bit. And yeah, I'm actually loving it. I'm not loving it to the point where, yeah, Taylor trying to pimp out the main game. I'm never going to buy the main game. They never got me there just because I don't feel I could purchase like for $80 and feel justified that I'm gonna play it enough, because eventually I think this will come time where it dies down. But the thing that I do like about this, if it's free and keeps going, this game is perfect for, hey, you got half an hour to 40 minutes to kill, put it in there. And that's one thing about the single games for me. It's like, oh, for something like Last of Us, that's never a game where like, I got half an hour, I'm gonna play a little bit. No, that's a game where I want to sit down for 3 to 4 hours, be locked in the world, stuff like this. That is like right when I get home from work, if I before bed, I can hop online and play with these guys a little bit. And yeah, it's been lots of fun. I honestly have very little complaints, and that's coming from a mainstream guy, so maybe there's some Call of Duty fans out there who might not like this or that, but everything from the revival system to the perks you can buy, the gulag as like that one buy back. I think most of the time I love the smoke aspect. It's like, yeah, it can be a pain in the ass, but I love it because it just adds this fun dynamic. It adds almost like a non-Call of Duty dynamic, and I think it works well. I love just the randomness and sporadic of it. It's kind of like what Mike Tyson said. You can have a plan until you get punched in the face, and we've had that many times where us three we're doing this, and then I get killed off, or Taylor gets killed off, or Dylan. It's mostly me getting killed off, but that's the thing where it happens, and then it changed everything, because then it's like, instead of going to that point, okay, we gotta get to a store, or if you see a guy or a bounty or a bounty's on you, that changes. Okay, we can't stay here because people know where we are, or there's a bounty right there. Do you want to go for it or not? So it's like, it is like a choose your own adventure. It's not just as simple as a, oh, hey, go in there and kill a bunch of guys. Because for me, and that is fun, that can be fun, but that for me lost its interest a long time ago. It's not games that I really need to play. So this, I love that they have that, but they have, and this speaks for someone too that's not the greatest at first-person shooters, you don't have to be great at this to win. There's times where I've played alone and gone to third rank just because I was good at hiding, and I found a building that was there, and I just had the right perks or the right gun or the right spot, and I could take a guy out. If it was just like who gets the most kills or it's a death match, that's where I don't love as much as like Plunder or a one-on-one I'm never going to play because I'll just get demolished. And Plunder, I like the idea of it, but it's just that is so based on you got to kill people. That's what I love about Royales, especially the teams. I always classify myself as like a support person. So I think it finds, if you're that type of person that if you don't like first-person shooters, or you might find it daunting because like me, I don't play them that much, so I consider myself pretty poor or just average or below average. There's other things you can do. There's other things. I love being the driver. I love doing things that can help the team out, but maybe I can't get that winning kill, but I can get us to the win. And I think the game has done many good things. And yeah, I think they're smart because it is the talk of the town. I think they will save it for free. There are rumors that like the Call of Duty, the next one won't have it. So it's going to be this interesting dynamic of, does this one keep getting supported for years and years, or is
I hope
it?
so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm interested to see what's going to happen. And the same thing, if there's some updated version, or the same way like Battle Royale or Fortnite when they like changed their whole map and stuff like that, they did a big event. If there's ever a time where, let's say, Last of Us comes out, fucking better, please come out in May. If that gets delayed, I'm going to be crushed. But let's say it comes out and then I'm ready to get back into it, or I'm busy. If they say, hey, we're doing a double XP weekend or a big event where it is a new map or it is a new weapons or something like that, there's many things just like GTA or Red Dead. Red Dead is a game constantly where they're like, oh, there's these 10 bounties and you go in and you get those. So yeah, I'm loving the game. I like I said, it's not a game that, it's not changing the world for me. It's not a game where it's like, oh, I would take this over single player games, but it's like a kind of fun junk food game. And like Taylor said, it has been great. The cross platform playing is awesome, and it's been fun to do that with these guys. And I think that's the other thing too. It is fun to play solo. I have had lots of fun solo, especially early on, but definitely try and get at least one friend and you'll have a really good time. So yeah, I recommend it to honestly anybody, unless you absolutely just hate shooters in general. Like you have never liked them, you've never liked even GoldenEye, then okay, fine, pass along. But if you've even fell out, I think is a good place to jump in and try it out for a couple maps. So yeah.
Nice. Oh man, this game's like a real culmination for me because, as I mentioned earlier, like Call of Duty is like, I used to, like, back in middle school, high school, around like a decade ago, honestly, at this point, is when I was super into Call of Duty, and like multiple games too, right? Like Modern Warfare 2, and Black Ops. Like I was super into all three of those games and played them all the time. And then for Battle Royale stuff, I haven't played them as much. I've played Apex. I played like maybe 10 matches of Apex, but it just didn't really do it for me. The other one that I was really into that kind of fell off and lost player base and kind of disappeared is called the Culling. I don't know if any of you have heard or played the Culling.
I watched you and Tyler Briggs stream it.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess I must have streamed it like way back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
When I was playing it. Yeah, I don't even know what happened to that game, but essentially it just wasn't really popular enough and couldn't maintain. But that was a cool game because it was much more Hunger Games, right? It was like 20 people, I think, and it was on like a small jungle island, and it was more about like fists and spears and things like that. But I loved that game so much. I was really sad when it kind of, I don't know. Like, one, they patched it and changed it a bunch, and then I wasn't really into it anymore. But then it kind of just didn't have enough player base to maintain the servers. But so this is kind of like the perfect way for me to come back into these kind of games. And like even multiplayer games in general, I've really fallen off. Like since Call of Duty, I was in Overwatch for a while, and I've been really into Counter-Strike for the last few years, but obviously I haven't really played any Call of Duty in a long time. So it very much feels like coming home in some ways. Like even one detail I love is that within this big map, there's Scrapyard from Modern Warfare 2 is just like, that map is just plopped down in one section. And then there's some other COD 4 map that's in there somewhere as well. So it's really cool, like the familiarity of it as well, since I've just played those games so much. But it's just such a well-made game in that, like, I don't know, like, I guess this is a Treyarch, or no, this isn't Treyarch. This is Infinity Ward, right, Taylor?
Yeah.
Yeah. That like Modern Warfare and Modern Warfare 2 were probably my favorites, and those were Infinity Ward as well. So it just has that same like polish to it, right? Like these games make so much money every year that they just have massive teams and really like can just polish every detail of like just the animations or like the sound design is just so good, and like the games run really well and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's just really fun to like actually be into the Battle Royale thing, because that's been like the talk of the town for the last like 2 or 3 years at this point, and I haven't really been in that sphere of the gaming world. So it's cool that I can finally jump back in. And I think one of the coolest things for me is the crossplay. Like Taylor's on Xbox One, me and Travis are on PlayStation 4. the fact that we can play together is, to me, just like the coolest thing. Like obviously crossplay has kind of been happening for a couple years in like Rocket League and other games, but I haven't really experienced it yet. And I just remember back when I played Call of Duty, like primarily back in middle school, high school, like I had a ton of friends on Xbox playing, but then I also had tons of friends on PlayStation who I could never play with, and we would talk about the game at school or to go to each other's house and play together, but you could never really have that experience just playing online together, like without having to worry about anything. So the
Mhm.
fact that you can just go online and queue with someone on another system is so cool to me, and I love that that's just in there and it's not there's like no issues with it. It just works like perfectly fine. I just think that's super cool. So yeah, I'm super into this. I've been loving it a lot. We got our first place last night. It's such a weird thing to say, first place, but finally got that last night, which was super intense and honestly brought me back to Modern Warfare 2. The feeling of getting a nuke, like the first time you get a nuke, is just like your heart's pumping. You're like, oh my god, I need
man,
one or
you
two
can
more
feel it.
kills.
Yeah.
When it gets down to it, and there's only a couple guys left, your heart's just pumping, and you're like just running on pure adrenaline at that point. And then when you get it, it's such a great feeling. Like I had to do some laps around my room. I was just popping off. So I'm in love with it. Everyone like it takes a solid 100 gigs, but I think it's worth the download.
Yeah.
And it's just fun to like play some multiplayer games because I haven't really been doing that a lot. Like even like my PS4, I have not played a single online game the entire time I've had a PS4. So that just goes
Wow.
to show like how much different this home console has been for me than Xbox, where I was playing tons of shooters. So
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Taylor, thanks for getting me into this, and you boys for carrying me in some games. And Taylor, last night, that first place, I wouldn't have done it without you. So yeah.
Well, I mean, that's the funny thing because last night, like when I was running, because I know you were kind of in and out between playing and on Animal Crossing, so I was just trying to survive because I got out of the gulag, and then I get to the buy station, and as I was running, I'm like, okay, who wants to come back? None of you guys said anything, and I thought Travis just ditched. So it could have been anyone's game. I could have went with Travis, but no, I was like, okay, well, I'll go with Dylan. Clicked you in, and thank God because Travis was out cold.
Dude, it was so like I took my headphones out of my phone, so I was thinking I could just talk to you that way because I was folding some laundry, but then I forgot to put it on speakerphone, so I couldn't hear you guys, and I didn't realize it for a bit because yeah, as you said, Travis was AWOL, and then you were just I thought focusing. So I was just folding some laundry, and then I look at my screen, and my character's like parachuting from the sky, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm back in it. So that was hilarious.
Hey, I did a lot
All
at the
right. Yeah.
beginning.
I actually jumped in there. I played a few games. I haven't played with you guys yet though. I'm definitely excited
Tonight,
to play
after
that.
you guys do your
I-
Catwoman cast, let's do it.
Let's fucking do it. My history with BRs, I remember playing like a Minecraft BR, and I remember just thinking like that was like revolutionary at the time. Look where we are now. I was telling Dylan this like off cast. It's just like jumping on and like experiencing a AAA game like Call of Duty, like one of the biggest franchise in like gaming, and it's just so well polished. Like the audio is so clean. There's no like frame issues. Just like it's so great. It's like the level of quality is just top notch, and it's so fresh because like my biggest played BR is PUBG, and like oh my god, I think that game is still having issues. Like I haven't played it in like over a year now, but like it's just
game, yeah.
it's so janky. Like you learn to like use the bugs like to your advantage. Like that's what type of game it is. Whereas like Call of Duty, like it's so well made. Like everything is just so nice in it. Like all the little details in it. You just gotta tip your hat to them. So I'm definitely excited to play it more. I love like the new systems that they added. Like I haven't used too much of like the buying stuff. I feel like I got to use that more, but like just getting perks and like the loadout, I think that's really cool.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just the map is sick. I haven't gone to everywhere on it, but it's like the places I have been, it's just so nice. And I really like how you can come back actually. Like other than
Yeah.
and there's a few ways too, so it makes it so it's not like you just die as you're parachuting. It's like, well, this game fucking sucks, and I have to wait for the next match. It's like, oh, I actually get a chance to get back in there, right?
Yeah, it makes it like that much more impressive for whoever wins because one, like yeah, the gulag means that like pretty much everyone until when does it kick when can you not go to the gulag, Taylor? What's the player number?
It gets down to 30 players left in the game, then the gulag cancels out.
Right. So until that point, like everyone is essentially like half of the people are getting a second life essentially for free in some way. And then you can be bought back like an infinitive amount of times, like even until that goes farther than 30. You can buy people back, right?
You can buy people back at any point in the game.
Right. You just need sometimes the shop isn't always in the range of the smoke, I guess, is the only difference there.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's crazy. Like, I mean, starting with 150 people, that's the biggest. Like, because Fortnite's 100, right? And then Apex, I think, is 70 something. So yeah, it's like that's a lot of people, and then even then, like tons of those people are coming back as well multiple times. So it's it's pretty crazy.
I don't think we've had a battle royale with like a plus 100 amount. I think 150 is the max right now for a multiplayer game, and to have that many people with their own connections and to have the game, I mean, for the most part, there's like a little bit of lag that pops in here and there, but like for the most part, just a flawless stream of connection in these games. It's just it blows my mind how you can have that many people together and not have significant disruptions or lag happening constantly.
That's just a testament to, I mean, Infinity Ward, I mean, Activision, just Call of Duty as a brand, like, right, they've just been making multiplayer games for so long, and they have so much money that they're the ones who can pull it off without it being a disaster. Whereas if some other like smaller company tried it, I'm sure that they would just have tons of server issues, have tons of bugs. Whereas this came out, and on day one, it worked perfectly fine. And as Taylor said, like sometimes there's some lag, or I've been timed out a couple of times. But like I don't know, it's just like you can immediately hop into another game, so it almost doesn't really matter if you get kicked out. Like whatever, you just move on. Like I've never had it where I've been in like a top 10 situation, I get kicked out. It's always like somewhere near the start of the game where it just bugs out for whatever reason.
Yeah,
so.
just everyone taking it at once probably is pretty. There goes Travis. Yeah, I'm excited to play with you guys though. It'll definitely be a whole nother experience playing with friends and just having fun.
Kirklin, you have a microphone, right?
Of course, that's why I'm talking to you right now, buddy.
Oh, outstanding.
Oh, I went there.
If only you could plug a Yeti into a PlayStation.
No, I have a mic. I was debating downloading on my computer or not, but I didn't want to.
That's a lot of gigs, man. It's hard to find that space on a computer.
It's a lot of gigs. The thing is, though, is when Shay gets back, she's gonna be like in quarantine, so I'm not gonna see her for a while. And I was gonna leave my PlayStation here and just have my computer, so I might have to install it so I can at least play like at my parents' house. But we'll see what happens.
Dude, that'd be sick. Taylor on Xbox, us on PlayStation, you on PC. We have
that is the holy trinity of like consoles.
That's a wild world. That's a thing that you can do.
See, I'm hoping they add those 4-mans because then we can get one person on Switch, PlayStation, PC, and Xbox.
Shoddy not playing on Switch.
Yeah,
that's you, Taylor. You're the Switch guy. You're the Switch guy, chicken man.
You can play it on the roof.
How many memory cards do you think you'd need on the Switch to install this?
Yeah, that's a good point. Like the default Switch has 32 gigs, and then like most of the affordable extra space is like 64. So it's not possible. You'd have to stream it, and that would have tons of lag.
Oh no. Oh, that'd be terrible.
Yeah.
Right on.
Don't bring it to Switch. We don't need it. Just give us another Mario Kart. We'll be all good.
Anything else to add before we head on out of here?
Nope.
No, I don't think so.
Taylor, you good?
You cut out a little bit. What'd you say?
I said you good, chicken man?
I'm good.
All right, well, I think that went pretty well. So everyone let us know. And like we said, bear with us for the first few weeks. This is the first one we did with all 4 of us. So hopefully it all sounded good. If not, we'll try to fix some posts and everything. But we'll be learning and adapting every week. Like we said, hopefully everyone gets healthy and safe. And we hope that for all of you, whether you're affected or not, if you got friends or family, we hope you're all safe out there. As everyone says, do like the fives, wash your hands, keep a good distance, but still try to have a life, whether that's listening to this podcast, whether that's joining our stream, go watch some movies, go play some games, read a book, whatever it is, try to still live a life and have a good time, be nice to everybody, especially if you're getting stuff delivered. Those people are having like shit jobs right now. So, just try to be nice and try to enjoy life. And we hope if we gave you any, like if you joined this madhouse and you had a good time, that was all our mission here. And I had a good time here. I'm very excited for next few weeks. Like we said, if there's not much news or content to cover, no reviews, we still got a few games, a few movies here and there, but we've been talking to patrons and we're going to still have content. Like we said, we got Marvel Ultimate Alliance coming up. I'm sure there might be a Netflix movie here or there we might try to review. So we'll still be here. Come hell or high water, there'll be something popping in that Geek First feed. So that's why you want to
Hell
subscribe. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's why you want to subscribe and do everything. If you like what we did here, give us a 5-star review on Apple, iTunes, or whatever podcast. I hate that they changed it. I screw up every time. Just give us a written one because that's what helps us. We're less than 30 away. We're very close. So yeah. So thank you very much for tuning in. This we will be back next week, and it will not be boring.
Bye everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.